Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Anna. I am a portrait photographer in the Chicagoland area, and today we're going to be talking about setting up photo shoots with clients and with models. One of my good friends, Dennis, is interested in learning photography, and he has asked me some questions on how to set up a photo shoot and how does that process go. So I figured this would be a perfect opportunity for me to make a YouTube video about it. For starters, if you are a beginner photographer and you're looking for a model, I will have a chart over here that will explain the difference between paid and collaborations, and this will kind of help you figure out if you are looking for someone that is a little bit inexperienced, such as yourself, and that way you guys can collaborate and you can do a TFP, which is a trade for print, which basically both parties are going to be working for free, and that way both parties will be getting exposure as well as practice. If you are an experienced photographer and you are looking for an experienced model, most times you will be finding them on Facebook groups or through their Instagram, and you can collaborate or you can do a paid shoot. Since Dennis and I are good friends and I am not a professional model myself, I figured this would just be a trade for print situation where Dennis can learn a lot of experience behind the camera and helping me figure out which poses would look best. Once you communicate with your model that you are interested in working with them and you guys have a date set, it's best to let them know what kind of ideas or what kind of themes you have in mind. Usually, if the party is reaching out to the other party, such as the model reaching out to the photographer or the photographer reaching out to the model, typically I would recommend to make sure that you have maybe a couple ideas or thoughts in mind. That way, the collaboration is going to go much smoother and you guys are going to bounce off of each other's ideas. In this situation, Dennis didn't necessarily have any themes in mind. He just really liked to take photographs near some landscape, and I figured I would do something a little bit similar to the video that I did with Mateen. If you did not see that collaboration that I did with him, it will be listed somewhere up here where you can click on it and check out my last video if you have not already. There is a super close forest preserve near both of our houses, so Dennis decided to pick me up and we decided to head over to that forest preserve. Now, it was raining a little bit that morning, so we were kind of checking to see how the weather was going to be for the rest of the day, since we already had that date sort of set, and just sort of had a rain check just to see if the specific time, if it wasn't dry enough for us to both do a photo shoot. And luckily it did dry up just a little bit, so we had enough time to kind of squeeze in a little photo shoot. Like I have mentioned before in previous videos, I think both parties should have a couple poses or a couple screenshots of the theme or a couple poses in mind before they head to the photo shoot. That way, as the model, you have a couple ideas in mind and you can practice in front of a mirror, or the photographer is able to go straight into the location and figure out what exact spot they want to do and recreate that pose. From there, the rest is pretty simple. As the photographer, you're just gonna keep clicking away, and the model, you're just gonna keep posing until you guys both get the desired look that you guys want. One thing that I do want you guys to keep in mind is that you have to let each person know the time slots of how long the photo shoot will be. If you guys are doing a tray for print, there is no specific time duration that those have to last. So typically I would recommend somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour is the perfect amount of time to get enough photos for both the photographer for their portfolio and the model for their portfolio. What I typically do once the photo shoot is over is I let the client know what the process is going to be after I had taken all of the photos. I usually take about a week and a half to finish the photos, depending on how busy I am with work or with other photo shoots. And if I have not completed all of the photos in the week or the week and a half that I let the client know how long it'll take, I usually ask them to send me a text or to send me an email asking about an update if I have not reached out to them already. Once you have figured the time that it'll take to deliver the photos, if you guys had agreed on payment, I would suggest at this point to ask the client, if it is a client or a model, to ask for the payment It all depends on what the photographer wants, if they want cash, if they want Venmo, if they want PayPal. Usually I would communicate that beforehand so that way each party is prepared and responsible for their share. If both parties agree that it would be a trade for print shoot, the photographer will go home and start editing on whatever editing software that they use. I typically use Lightroom and Photoshop, which is the easiest for me to do on my laptop and my iPad. And from there, the delivery process will also be a little different depending on each photographer, which could also be mentioned at the end of the photo shoot once you guys are both together in person. I typically do Google Drive, that way I am able to restore all of my files and make sure that everything is on my hard drive safe. I have also heard other people use WeTransfer, but that should also be discussed right before the photo shoot happens, so that way the model is prepared with whatever files that they will get. One thing that I would recommend from the photographer's standpoint is to let the client or the model know how many photos that they will be getting. This should typically be discussed right before the photo shoot even happens, but if it does not, I would give them a general range of what the average amount of photos that you typically give. So for my photo shoots, I typically give around 10 to 15 photos. That is for a 1 hour session, and if it is a wedding or if it is a big event, that typically depends on how many hours I will be there. Something that is not usually discussed with a trade for print shoot is the amount of photos that you're going to be getting. Since the photographer is spending a lot of time editing and going through all of the photos and rejecting the ones that they don't really like, usually it all depends on the amount of time that the photographer has to finish all of the photos. So I think not to keep the expectation set too high from a model. As the photographer, let them know how many photos you're deciding on sending them. Just to do a quick recap of everything that we learned in this video today, you're first going to start off by contacting the client or the model or even the photographer, and you're going to let them know which days you are available to set up a photo shoot. From there, you're going to set the theme or set the concept, and you should be able to provide a couple examples from the internet using Google or Pinterest to either provide poses, or you're either going to give a general concept of the photo shoot so both of you guys are on the same page. From there, you're going to go to the photo shoot and take a bunch of photos and set the specific time and the specific amount of photos that you're going to be giving to the client or the model. The last thing that you're going to do is you're going to be talking about deliverables. How are you going to be giving these photos? And I would recommend to either use Google Drive or maybe send it through WeTransfer or anything that you feel most comfortable doing. And that concludes the end of this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified every single time I post a new video. If you like videos like this, I have a playlist set for all of you guys to just watch through, so that will be listed in the description box below. I also have different playlists which goes behind the scenes in my photography world, or if you're interested in my travel videos, I will also have the travel playlist listed down below. But that is the end of this video. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.